What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Cullen's Music Corner. I'm Cullen the Great. I just want to start by saying I wish everyone a very happy new year. I hope you guys had a fantastic evening last night, and of course, I hope you all made it home safe and sound. Cheers to 2021. Lord knows we all need it to be a good year. Yes. But I want to apologize about the lack of uploads and the lack of videos recently. It has just been one crazy holiday season, bouncing around from family members' houses to family members' houses to parties to work events, etc. I have just been so busy, but I am super excited that this holiday season is over. We're kicking it off into a new year, and I can get back on the grind of making some dope ass YouTube videos. Yes. What better way to start off 2021 on Cullen's Music Corner than to talk about Mr. Kid Cudi's newest album, Man on the Moon 3, baby. Not one, not two, but three. Now, this album has been out for almost a month now. I think it's been a couple of weeks. He dropped it the same day Jack Harlow dropped his album, which was December 19th, I believe. I could be wrong on that. But this one was a album that I wanted to take my time with recording a video for this album. Obviously, I was really busy, but I really wanted to wait a little while before I made a video so that I could let it kind of all soak in and just get the real vibe of the album before I made an actual video about it. One thing I do want to say just to start it off is if you're going into this album, Man on the Moon 3, thinking or expecting it to be anything like Man on the Moon 1 or Man on the Moon 2, you are going to be disappointed. And I hate to say that, but that's exactly how it was for me going into the album. Is I thought it was going to be just like Man on the Moon 1, and there's never going to be another Man on the Moon 1. You just cannot get an album as good as that. And I like the Trilogy album. I do believe that there is going to be a fourth at the end of the album. There was kind of a little message that said to be continued. So I'm assuming there's going to be a fourth Man on the Moon, which, thank goodness, we need Kid Cudi music in our lives. But I was a little let down with Man on the Moon 3. I thought it could have been a little bit better in production, a little bit better in just the songs, to be honest with you. I really did enjoy the album, and the reason I listened to it more and more was because I was kind of missing something. I felt like it wasn't hitting me like it should have been. But if you listen to it, if you're expecting it to be like one or two, you are going to be disappointed. When this album first came out, I heard people absolutely raving about it, saying how great of an album it was. Kid Cudi's back. I was expecting something along those lines as well, but when I went and listened to it, it was not like that. So just kind of be prepared going into it if you haven't already listened to his new album. So like I was saying, some of the first things that I did notice was that a lot of the songs sounded real muddy in the mix. There was a lot of low-end frequencies, kind of mid-range frequencies that just sounded real ugly at certain parts of the songs, and that was jumped out to me right away in the first verse of Tequila Shots. I didn't really like that verse too much. That is my favorite song off the album, but when it first came on, I was kind of just like, what is this, man? I was not a fan of the production style and the way he delivered it. But like I was saying, it sounded really muddy in the mix. You had those low and mid frequencies that just sounded kind of ugly in parts of the song throughout the album. There was excessive amounts of auto-tune at time, which he uses auto-tune and he's done it in the past, but there were certain points where it was like he tried to reinvent the wheel, and it's like, he knows he makes good music. He sounds good with the auto-tune that he's done before. So I just thought it was kind of, it hurt him more to be a little bit more excessive on the auto-tune in certain parts. It's not that noticeable, but to go along with the muddiness and the low frequencies, it kind of brings it out a little bit more and makes that more prevalent in the mix. And I think that's kind of where those two go hand in hand with the excessive auto-tune and that muddy mix, is it kind of really brings out the muddiness in it. And to be honest with you, I got bored listening to the album about halfway through. I will say this, I do think the second half of the album is much better than the first half of the album. I think you have a lot more songs true to the original Man on the Moon, a lot more of those slower, more melodic vibes. Stuff like Day and Night, Up and Away, those kind of songs I feel like are more towards the end of Man on the Moon 3, where the first half of the album is almost him trying to not reinvent the wheel, like I said, but try something different in the 2020 music scene. So it has been a while since Kid Cudi has made music, so obviously he's been very public about it. He's been dealing with anxiety and depression, and it's been something that's kind of halted his creative capabilities. So it was really, really refreshing to see him kind of get out of that funk and make more music. But obviously with that comes change, and I think that's where a lot of the first half of the album, like I was saying, is so different, is because he is changing, and then you can kind of tell where he gets more comfortable writing songs, and then it kind of drifts back into the old Kid Cudi. But you can tell he did change, and change is good. You need to change, especially when you're in the position he was in. His new style is not bad. It's okay. I'm just not a big fan of it. I liked his earlier work a little bit more than I liked the newer kind of vibe that he was going with here. This album was just more of kind of a nostalgic blast from the past for me, and I think that's why a lot of people were really overhyping this album, is because it had been a while since Cudi had made music, and people are just excited to hear him again. So it's that nostalgia that's kind of not blinding people per se, but they're just excited to hear somebody, one of their favorite musicians that they haven't heard in a while. And of course, when you don't hear some music from someone in a long time and it's halfway decent, it's gonna get the hype that it might deserve and that it might not deserve. But in this case, I think it did get the hype that it deserved. It's Kid Cudi after all. Come on, y'all. One thing I did want to point out though was the instrumentals on his album were fire. I saw the video to Sad People. It was kind of going around on Twitter. There was a little snippet of them in the studio actually creating the song, and it was really cool to see just kind of the start of how it all began. Cudi's sitting there playing on the piano, just kind of messing around with some notes, and they get something, and then it slowly progresses into the beat you hear, and then all of a sudden he's laying down some filler vocals, just na 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 na, just to try and fill the void and come up with a flow, a rhythm to go over the instrumental. And it was really cool to see. With Sad People, one thing I thought was really unique is the main lead, I guess you could say, or the main melody in the song was kind of sounded very similar to The Weeknd by Mac Miller and Miguel. I thought it was the same sample until I had actually saw that video and realized that Cudi and the producers made the beat. So I just thought it was unique how similar it sounded to that song. And both songs, they're not the same kind of rap, but they both have similar vibes in the sense that it's more airy and a little more different than your typical mainstream rap or your trap rap that everybody knows. Same with the instrumental for She Knows This. I wasn't a big fan of that song. I thought it was kind of annoying, but the instrumental for it just slaps. I put it on just to hear that first drop on the beat. It goes so hard. So I think the instrumentals on this project were incredible. I think Kid Cudi was Kid Cudi. He laid his vocals over it. He's not a lyricist, I guess you could say. He's more of somebody that sounds good rather than has bars for days. So the lyrics were just like they've been the past couple of Kid Cudi albums. There were a few good songs on here that I do thoroughly enjoy and put on and listen to quite frequently. My favorite from the album, like I said, is Tequila Shots. Mr. Solo Dolo 3 is a close number 2. I think that was an incredible song, and I also really think that's very creative for Kid Cudi to have Man on the Moon 1, 2, and 3, but along with that to have Mr. Solo Dolo 1, 2, and 3 as well to kind of go along with the album. So it's almost like two stories being told at the same time within one story. So I think that's really cool. I think that's a nice creative concept in the Trilogy album, soon to be 4, whatever number you would call that. Damaged was another good one. Show Out, of course, is going to be one of the primo songs from the album just because Pop Smoke is on there. Rest in peace, Pop Smoke. But with that song, you did have more of a drill kind of Cudi, which was pretty cool. Pop Smoke is obviously a drill, New York drill. He kind of blew up that scene a little bit more than it was, but it was interesting to hear Cudi kind of switch up his flow a little bit on there. And this is gonna sound kind of funny, but I don't know if you guys ever remember the YouTube Twitter video that went around where it was Big Shock, the one and only, man's not hot. Every single time I hear a trap, or every time I hear a drill rap song with any, just in general, I automatically think of Big Shaq going skitty bop bop bop, eddie boom boom boom. I don't know why, but Big Shaq he's an actor that was playing a role in a movie about a drill rapper. It took place in England, so that was a character that he portrayed, and that was a song that they had wrote for the movie to promote it. But every time I hear any sort of drill, grime, UK is really known for drill, grime kind of music, but anytime I hear that, I automatically think of Big Shaq and that the Big Shaq, one and only, man's not hot, never hot. But anyways, Show Out was another good song. It's catchy, and to go along with some of those good songs, you also have a few songs on there which were songs that I was not a fan of, songs that kind of weren't necessarily boring or annoying, but just I felt like the album could have been better without them. Songs like Dive, that just annoys me. The Void is kind of an annoying song as well, and then I just cannot stand Elsie's Baby Boy, the flashback. For whatever reason, that song, every time it comes on, it just gives me a headache. And like I said earlier, how I was kind of bored listening to the album. Like halfway through, I had to force myself to listen to it. And I think a few of the times that I sat there and stopped listening to it was on some of these songs, just because I was like, I can't do it anymore. I gotta push pause. But overall, I think it was a really good album. I'm excited to see what Cudi has next, since it has been a while since he's made music. So there's obviously a lot of room to grow, a lot of stuff to kind of tweak and fix for the next time. But expect a Man on the Moon 4. Expect some new stuff from Cudi come 2021. I think it was refreshing to him to see the reception that he and his music got in 2020. So I'm excited to see what he's got coming up for us. I think I'm going to give the album, honestly, an 8 out of 10. I know I pretty much trash talked it this entire video, but it was a good piece of work. It was a nostalgic feel, and it was nice to hear music from Kid Cudi again, especially coming out of the dumps, coming from a situation he was in. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and checking out my videos. I really appreciate it. 2021 is going to be a killer year for everybody. I know it. I have faith. Hey, if you liked what you saw, go ahead, click that like button, click that subscribe button. While you're at it, follow me on all of my social medias. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram under @CullenTheGreat _. You can find me on Facebook under Cullen the Great, and of course me and all my music on your favorite streaming service. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, and until next time, peace.